Dawgs. Do it for the dogs. Do it for the dogs. I do it for the dogs.
Yeah, week 2. Welcome to another episode of Off the Leash. Yeah, we're gonna get to preview in South Carolina. Start of the SEC play. Best part of the season, no doubt. So
Hell yeah,
looking
baby.
forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
Oh man, I can't wait. We got
Gamecocks.
Will Muschamp, Brian McClendon, got some familiar UGA faces. So I wish that guys success like that all season. But when it comes time to play them dogs
Outside of us.
hell
outside of
nah,
us.
we gonna take you down. Better never wish you left.
Hey,
Partner.
it's gonna be live in Columbia. Believe
man.
that. I think we're lucky. It's
They
not
get
a night
loud,
game.
dude. They
Oh,
get
yeah.
loud.
It's gonna be Inner Sandman from the moment we get there.
Dear God, the worst game I've honestly ever been to was the Aaron Murray, Davian Clowney. We got creamed, man. I think Georgia got like 2 possessions that had points on the board. It was ugly.
We had some battles with them.
I was sitting next to Big Dog, R.I.P. Yeah, and he was getting escorted out of the game, and South Carolina fans started throwing stuff at Big Dog, and man, brawls started happening because Georgia fans weren't gonna have Big Dog get picked on.
No,
so
that's
it,
not happening
it got,
nowhere.
It got ugly, man. So I'm all respect to South Carolina fans, but there's some rowdy dudes up there in South Carolina, some rednecks.
Yeah,
man.
no doubt.
So
And we got our own. I
Yeah,
never had
so
that
that's-
bad of an experience. I enjoyed my experience. but
hopefully we play keep it all sportsman,
Big Dog,
no fights.
you gotta stay off Big Dog.
Yeah, but you can't be, man. He was an old man walking with a cane, dude. They were ugly, man. Like, come on, I wouldn't do that to. They were just picking on a granddad.
And they did that after a win.
in the middle of a beatdown, dude. They didn't give a damn. Big Dog's legs were hurting him, so he went home. But damn, man.
Well, listen, South Carolina.
feel you.
Yeah, all due respect. I feel like this team right now, they took a step forward. What'd you say, 9-4 last season?
9-4. So the year that Steve Spurrier left, 3-win season, very ugly. The next year, Muschamp comes in,
Yep.
doubles it to 6. Now they have 9 wins, so they have a ton of momentum coming in. They're looking to have a good season. They were second in the East last year. We can't forget that.
I think they'll repeat that.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think that they have a good shot of being second in the East again. I think that this game, they'll play it close. They have some stars. Let's talk about who they got.
So, a popular name that you're going to hear a lot on Saturday is Jake Bentley. We have a Jake Fromm. It's going to be a big battle between those two guys.
Battle of the Jakes.
Yeah, South Carolina's a team. It's really similar to ours. They have a really
that's
balanced
true.
offense. They pass the ball, RPOs, run plays, and I expect them to give our defense some fits initially.
Right.
But their running backs by committee, I'm just not scared of any of their running backs, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I think that if you look at where it matters most, if you look at the trenches, for one, they just do not have the depth that we have at,
That's going to be a
at
big
D-line
factor, huge factor.
at all.
Yes.
They have a pretty good offensive line. They really do. But we're going to be able to wear them down all game. I really see that they're going to have a hard time keeping up with our depth. They have you mentioned Jake Bentley, real tall guy. He's a hoss out there, but he's only one player. They have a couple. You talk about Debo. They're super talented wide receiver.
Impact player.
We're gonna see
Plain and simple.
I think that's gonna be the matchup of the game that everyone's looking forward to. Hopefully it happens. I know that we don't really switch Baker. Oh, Baker.
Yeah, it's Baker, and that's Kirby talked about it. Like
That's our.
they're gonna put Debo all over the field. Will we switch and man to man with DeAndre Baker?
I don't know if we're gonna switch our whole offense.
Defense. Will we switch it for him? Trying to account for him because we're gonna have to account for
Yeah,
him, right?
I don't know if we're gonna switch our whole defense based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
one player, but I do see that. That's the matchup that everyone's looking forward to seeing. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we can shut him down. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that we'll probably take multiple different approaches depending on the scenario. Obviously, they're going to be queued up in that this week. They might have Demetrius Robertson or a couple of these guys running looks, trying to get a little bit of a glimpse at how they're going to run their offense. But I mean, I'm just not that concerned about it. I think that Georgia has a better team. I think that we're playing a really good team in South Carolina, but we have the talent where it matters in the trenches. And we could sit here all day and say, I think they're competitive in a lot of the skill positions. I think they're not super far behind us, actually. But when it comes to the trenches, we just have more talent. We have more depth. We have more experience. So I see that as being the impact of this game. I think that there's just no denying what Georgia has coming into this is just the upper hand. We're playing a team that's heavily underfavored. We have the points coming in, but you can't disrespect the South Carolina team. Anytime Georgia plays South Carolina, it's a dogfight. So it's an SEC game. I think that Will Muschamp is going to come with some cards up his sleeve. I expect some trickery from Will Muschamp.
Better believe it.
But I think that we have a great shot at putting up some high numbers, really coming out with an impressive win to set the standard for SEC play here to come. We got some big games coming up. I think South Carolina, looking down the stretch, if you look at their schedule, they have a great shot at winning every game after this. They don't have an extremely difficult SEC schedule. They have the two games I think South Carolina is going to lose this year is against Georgia and against Clemson. That's a 10-win season. So if you're a South Carolina fan, you're coming off your 3-win season, you got to be happy with 10-win season. So I think that's what I predict for you guys, you Gamecocks out there. But I don't think that you guys got a shot, honestly. Us Dawgs are going to take care of business, and we're going to dominate the way that Kirby says that is the standard here at the University of Georgia.
Yep, and that's what we're going to do as a team. I feel the same way. I feel like it's going to be competitive for a while, but
Absolutely.
I feel like at the end of the day, our depth is going to take over. But it'd be unwise to kind of not trust that Will Muschamp is going to be ready for this game. Really look for that DeAndre Baker, Debo Samuel matchup, like we said, but don't just limit him to offense. He does kick returns, punt returns. The kid can do everything. He can be a slot coming out of the running back. Kid can literally do it all. But from our standpoint, what I'm interested to see, we saw a lot of freshmen playing the opener. 22, 23 to be exact. That's got to be somewhere near a record for us. Obviously, we have a 70-man roster that the NCAA allows for road games. So expect that number to really be decreased as far as the freshmen. And then the ones that you do see, expect them to contribute for the rest of the SEC play and for the rest of the season in any capacity. Those are the guys that you want to count on. It's nice for all the freshmen to get to play, but we just know on a week-to-week basis, like that's not what we're going to need to win SEC games. We want experience. We want to keep that explosiveness, but we don't want to put these new guys. I'm telling you, that stadium is going to be rocking. Right. So it's important that the people out there are. You ain't got to prove it to us as fans. You got to prove it to Kirby, and that's exactly what I expect Kirby to put on that bus at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they really freshmen. Just in general, in college football.
It's hard. It's SEC.
There's more pressure now than ever. You see freshmen actually getting playing time more than they ever did, and that's because, we have these hyped out recruiting.
Some of these kids should still be in high school.
You got to look at it from there's pressure a lot of times for the coaches to play some of these kids. A lot of time, these kids are just ready. You got kids that, back in the day, they might have only seen their high school coaches, but now we're talking about players that are playing and practicing year-round. So they're just more prepared than players of the past. So we're going to see more and more freshmen able to step in. Georgia's no exception to that, so I totally agree. I think that we're going to have some this last week against Austin Peay, we got to see who we're experimenting with, what kind of looks we're gonna have. But this is where our first major test. We're gonna see guys that are SEC caliber athletes. They're an underdog team in South Carolina, but you're talking about SEC speed. You got guys that played against each other in high school. Some area recruits that were in camp together. There's a lot of familiarity in this game. And then you add to the cherry on top with McClendon, who honestly is one of my favorite coaches up and coming. I foresee him to come out and honestly test our defense. I feel like they're going to run the hurry-up offense. McClendon is a great mind. He's young.
He's good.
He's flexible. He's able to see the field well. The few times that he coached Georgia for interim games after Mark Richt left.
Bowl game.
I was truly impressed. And I just think they have what they're doing. Honestly, they're taking Georgia guys and using the Georgia method. So South Carolina looks a lot familiar. They look a lot more similar to Georgia, like you were saying in general. So we're seeing shades of ourselves. I just think that Georgia has the depth and overall they have a lot of intangibles along with star talent that just is going to pace us ahead of South Carolina this week. So if I had to ask you, what do you see the final score being, I guess, for this week? Who we got? You got them Dogs?
Yeah, like no doubt. Like depth is not an issue. Again, Terry Godwin's coming back, and that's another receiver that we're gonna have ball. I do expect their offense to give our defense some fits. I'm not gonna lie, but I think our special teams play might really tip it. I'm gonna go with our average about 30. I'm gonna say 38.
38.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 38-17. I feel like we win 2-3 touchdowns. But that kind of gets away from South Carolina at the end once we take their crowd out of it. So I don't think they've got enough to – after last week, watching those wide receivers, how do you stop that?
Right.
I'm going 38. I'm going to take a little bit over the average. What about you? How you feeling it's going to be?
Well, we're looking at a South Carolina team with a lot of talent. I feel like, they're going to have that game break ability that Austin Peay just didn't have against us. There were definitely some holes. If I'm South Carolina, I'm watching that game. I'm going to attack Georgia's edges of the defense. I'm going to, try some QB runs. That's a few of the areas that I did see that we struggled against Austin Peay. They had the ability to kind of stretch the field on us, which most teams last year did not. So we'll see how that plays out this week against South Carolina. And I feel like overall we look at a prediction. I see Georgia coming out, scoring 31 points, 31-10.
31-10?
31-10. I think that South Carolina will get a touchdown on us. I think that they do have that ability. I could be proven wrong, but I just do not see them being able to beat down our defense like that. I think they'll have a couple of big plays. We'll be talking about some highlights. We'll be talking about Debo.
But we're both taking the over in about 21 points.
But I definitely think that we're going to handle this, and I see South Carolina 31-10.
That's not going to make a lot of Gamecock fans happy. Because they're I don't know how many South Carolina fans you know, but they are a really proud and
absolutely
supportive fan base. And I mean no disrespect, honestly, but I think it might be after the game before they realize this, but they're kind of coming to where we were in Kirby year one between year two. They're progressing forward. Like I think we are up there now,
right? And
I think that's just going to show a little bit too much now. Turnovers could change the game.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit here and act like it's impossible, but from a pure talent standpoint and a scheme, it's going to be a tough one for them, even at home.
Absolutely. So I think that having this, just let's say, cutting. No, I'm just kidding. So having this perspective as a Georgia fan, you talk about South Carolina games in the past. I mean, for years, that South Carolina has been
headache, dude.
Georgia's bane for many a year. A lot of the times when Georgia would have these elite seasons, it was South Carolina adding just one more loss to keep us out of big-time games.
Yeah.
So you can't overlook it, especially in this playoff era where every game is important. Even if, worst-case scenario, we take a loss at the hands of an SEC opponent,
SEC East, mind you.
Yeah, it's important. Everything counts. So
they want this one.
Yeah.
This could make their season like in some kind of grand scheme.
Absolutely.
Like if they just derail us, even for a few weeks, that's big. That's huge.
Well, if you look at who they play, the other teams of note that they're really playing, the only other team that I don't think everybody in the East that they're playing, I think they have a great shot to win.
Yeah,
against.
Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Yeah. And then you got a few teams that might, could upset them, but that's probably not going to happen. So then you got Georgia and Clemson.
Talking to you.
Yeah, you got Georgia and Clemson.
Those are highlights.
Those are the two games on their schedule. So, if let's say they very well could lose to us, win out, then we're talking about a top 10 matchup with Clemson and South Carolina. So this game, even if they lose, is huge for both teams, huge for South Carolina. They need all the style points they can get. They're coming
respect
off
for them.
They're coming off they're playing a team coming off a national championship berth. So all eyes will be on them. Anytime you end up in a championship game, you have a target on your back all next season.
Every time.
No matter what sport we're talking about. So I feel like that's the same with Georgia this year. And honestly, I don't think it's going to matter because them Dogs are going to put a pounding on them.
Yeah, the familiarity is going to help them in ways, but Kirby knows Muschamp just as well.
Absolutely.
And that's going to hurt in important parts of the game.
And they have some game breaker players, but they don't have a Clowney. You talk about someone like Jadeveon Clowney.
Because there's no stopping a beast like that.
That guy, it didn't matter what scheme you put out there. He just won his matchup to a degree that,
Yeah.
it just didn't matter.
And Debo's going to do some of that.
Yeah.
But with two really talented DBs on you, you're asking for more trouble.
Right.
Versus, impact. He's not. We'll see. We'll see. Debo's the man.
Good
the
Lord.
man. But Kirby's well aware of that. Well aware of that. So that kind of gives me less concern.
I think Georgia has the tip when it comes to game breaker players. If
all over.
if let's say McCole Hardman played at South Carolina, and let's say Debo didn't talk, they didn't have a Debo, we'd be talking about McCole Hardman. The thing is though, is Georgia has 1, 2, 3. McCole, Terry, and Demetrius are all number 1 receivers.
Ridley's on the way
at most places in the SEC. And then you talk about a guy, Riley Ridley. He's at part of the bloodline there with Calvin. Anytime your brother's an NFL player and you have an amazing game like you did in the national championship and a pretty stellar freshman season, you're looking at
Isaac Nada would be the second best receiver on their team today.
Yeah, I mean, we're
no disrespect, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, honestly, what's his name? Who backs up 89? Charlie Warner.
Yeah.
If he were over there, he would be their number 2 best receiver. So I just feel like they are undermatched, and they're just not going to be able to stand up.
They just lost a tight end of that caliber to the
Yeah.
NFL. So if he was still here, I'd be a little bit more scared of the aerial.
South Carolina has as big a gaps, and they just don't have the talent to back it up. But we'll see. I respect South Carolina.
Without
I
a
respect what they've done in the past. I've been wrong in years past. I remember I was up at South Carolina. I had an Instagram post with some Gamecock chicken wings, and I said, "Can't wait to gobble down a victory." Boy, I sit off Instagram for 5 months.
Game.
Cocks.
Game.
Cocks.
Sucks.
Cocks. Some
Sucks.
cocks. But, man, it was embarrassing. My South Carolina friends, they held it against me. I got a few local in the community. You guys are going to watch this. You know who you are. My shit-talking buddies. I've talked that smack, too, for a minute. Y'all don't stand a chance. I just want you to know, right now, go ahead and buy some Kleenexes because you're going to be crying by the time it comes through. It doesn't matter if Steve Spurrier's ghost comes through. It doesn't matter if Marcus Lattimore gets another year eligibility and his legs fixed. It doesn't matter. Them Gamecocks are going to lose this Saturday, and it's going to be bad. And I hate it for you because, you're coming off some momentum. You got the coaches.
Oh, we were doing so good.
But that's the problem. It's going to be bad for you because, you got a lot, and you got a lot to be helpful for. But guess what? Them Dogs are coming to town, and we're hungry.
Any chance you make it to Columbia?
Gamecock. We might. We'll see, and we'll keep you posted.
Oh, yeah. If we get to go, down there, guarantee there's going to be some nice footage from there. This will be one of many away games.
We'll tailgate it up. We'll give you some tailgate specials. So
I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
May throw some recipes in there, man. I would love to. We'll see. We'll see. That'll be.
Great.
We'll keep you posted for next week. Yeah. But that'll be great. And I think this is gonna be a good game, man. So you want to close this out?
Yeah, Dog Nation. Thanks again for another good episode. Appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to hear some feedback from you guys. But until then, off the leash.
That's right. Peace. Woo.